Dorothy Vaughan was a pioneering African-American mathematician who played a crucial role in NASA's early space program. Born in 1910, Vaughan grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, in a family of modest means, and in a supportive family environment, which helped nurture her interest in education and mathematics. Dorothy Vaughan was a highly educated woman, and her education played a crucial role in her success. As a mathematician and computer programmer, Vaughan attended a segregated high school in Morgantown, Beechhurst High School, West Virginia, which was a segregated high school for African American students during Vaughan's time there, and graduated as valedictorian in 1925, and continued to excel in her studies. After her graduation, she went on to attend Wilberforce University in Ohio, where she studied mathematicians and physics. She graduated from Wilberforce University in Ohio in 1932 with a Bachelor of Science degree in mathematics. Wilberforce University was a historically black university that provided educational opportunities for African Americans during a time of segregation. While Dorothy Vaughan's academic journey was impressive, it's important to note that she continued to learn and develop her skills throughout her career. She was a self-taught programmer, learning how to use the IBM 7090 computer through perseverance and dedication. This underscores her commitment to continuous learning and her passion for making a contribution to the field of science. Her parents were Leonard Johnson and Annie Johnson, maiden name Spencer. They encouraged her interest in mathematics and science from an early age, which would later serve her well in her career as a mathematician and computer scientist at NASA. Her father was a janitor and a bellhop, while her mother, Annie Johnson, was a domestic worker. The family moved to Morgantown, West Virginia, when Dorothy was a young child. Dorothy's parents valued education and encouraged her to pursue her interests in mathematics and science. Dorothy Vaughan was married to Howard Vaughan. They married in 1932 until his death in 1957, and had 6 children together: Anne, Maida, Leonard, Kenneth, Michael, and Donald. During their marriage, Dorothy balanced her career as a mathematician and computer at NASA with her responsibilities as a mother and wife. After Howard's death, Dorothy did not remarry. She dedicated herself to raising her children and pursuing her career at NASA. She died on November 10, 2008, Hampton, Virginia. Dorothy Vaughan started developing her interest and skills in science and mathematics at a young age. Dorothy Vaughan showed an early talent for science and mathematics. Vaughan's parents encouraged her interest in mathematics and science, and she excelled in these subjects from an early age. Early in her career, Vaughan began her career as a mathematics teacher, but she soon moved to the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, NACA, which later became NASA, where she worked as a mathematician and computer scientist. Her refined interest and development in these subjects soared as she later joined the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, NACA, which eventually became NASA in 1943. There, she became a pioneering mathematician and computer programmer. Vaughan's passion for science and mathematics was evident from an early age, and she continued to develop her skills throughout her education and career. She became one of the first African American women to work at NASA and played a crucial role in the success of the early space program. She became a leading mathematical engineer in the first aerospace program with the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, NACA, and the first African American woman promoted to supervisor in the program. Dorothy Vaughan made significant contributions during her career at NASA. Initially the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, or NACA. Here are some of her notable achievements. First African American supervisor in 1949, leading the West Area Computing Unit. This segregated group consisted of African American female mathematicians who performed complex calculations, pioneering work in computing. Vaughan was adept at FORTRAN, an early high-level programming language. Her expertise helped NASA transition from human computers to digital computing. Computer programming. Vaughan learned programming languages like FORTRAN and COBOL, and contributed to the development of computer programs for NASA's missions. Project Mercury. She contributed to significant projects, including Project Mercury, America's first human spaceflight program. Contributions to aeronautics. Vaughan worked on various aviation-related projects, including research to improve flight efficiency and safety. Mentorship and advocacy. Vaughan mentored many women, including notable figures such as Mary Jackson and Katherine Johnson, and advocated for their promotion and professional development within the organization. Vaughan's contributions to NASA were instrumental in the success of many space missions and paved the way for future generations of women and minorities in STEM fields. Dorothy Vaughan's legacy lies not only in her technical contributions, but also in her leadership and advocacy for the inclusion of women and African Americans in STEM fields. Mathematician and computer scientist. Vaughan worked as a mathematician and computer scientist at NASA's Langley Research Center from 1951 to 1971. Calculations for flight dynamics. Vaughan performed complex calculations for flight dynamics, including trajectories, velocities, and altitudes. Apollo program. Vaughan worked on calculations for the Apollo program, which successfully landed astronauts on the Moon. Scout launch vehicle. Vaughan contributed to the development of the Scout launch vehicle, which was used for several NASA missions. Breaking racial barriers. Vaughan broke racial barriers as one of the first African American women to work at NASA. Leadership. Vaughan became the first African American supervisor at NASA's Langley Research Center in 1963. Dorothy Vaughan is widely celebrated for her contributions to mathematics and her role at NASA. Although during her career, she did not receive many formal awards and recognitions as we recognize them today. However, her legacy has been honored more extensively in recent years, particularly due to the increased awareness brought about by the book, Hidden Figures, by Margot Lee Shetterly and its associated film. While direct awards are not extensively documented, here are some recognitions linked to her contributions. Class valedictorian Beechhurst High School in 1925. Graduated cum laude at Wilberforce University as a mathematician in 1925. Posthumous recognition and tributes include: since the release of Hidden Figures, Vaughan has been widely recognized and celebrated for her work. The story brought to light the critical roles she and her colleagues played in NASA's successes, leading to numerous posthumous tributes and honors. NASA Group Achievement Award. The West Area Computers team, which Vaughan supervised, earned collective recognition through NASA Group Achievement Awards for their critical work. Full tuition scholarship for West Virginia Conference of the AME Sunday School Convention in 1925. Hidden Figures Congressional Gold Medal in 2019. Congress awarded the Congressional Gold Medal to Dorothy Vaughan, along with her colleagues Katherine Johnson, Mary Jackson, and Christine Darden, acknowledging their significant contributions to the space program and pioneering work. Head of National Advisory Committee of Aeronautics, Segregated West Computing Unit, NACA, between 1949 to 1958. A satellite named after her was launched into space on November 6, 2020. On July 19, 2024, NASA Johnson Space Center's Central Data Office, known as Building 12, was renamed as the Dorothy Vaughan Center in honor of the women of Apollo, as a tribute to the people who made humanity's first steps on the Moon possible. While the formal awards during her life were limited, Dorothy Vaughan's contributions have become much more recognized and celebrated in recent years. Her story continues to inspire future generations of scientists and engineers. National Aeronautics and Space Administration NASA. Exceptional Service Medal in 1969. National Association of University Women, NAUW. Award for Outstanding Service to the Community in 1966. Langley Research Center LARC Directors. Award for Outstanding Service in 1965. Posthumously awarded Honorary Fellow in 2018. By the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics AIAA. Posthumously awarded History Month honoree in 2018. By the NASA Langley Research Center's National Women. Posthumously featured in the book and film, Hidden Figures, in 2016. Posthumously inducted into the West Virginia University Academy of Distinguished Alumni in 2018. Posthumously honored with a street named after her in her hometown of Morgantown, West Virginia in 2019. Posthumously featured on the cover of Time magazine in 2017. Posthumously recognized as one of the 100 most influential African Americans by Ebony magazine in 2017. These awards and honors recognize Vaughan's contributions to NASA, her community, and her legacy as a trailblazer for women and minorities in STEM fields. Dorothy Vaughan's net worth is estimated to be around $55 million at the time of her death in 2008. However, her net worth would be significantly higher if adjusted for inflation. Vaughan's salary at NASA ranged from $3,400 to $9,100 per year during her career, which is equivalent to approximately $30,000 to $80,000 in today's dollars. After her retirement from NASA, Vaughan continued to work as a consultant and educator, which likely contributed to her net worth. It is worth noting that Vaughan's legacy and contributions to NASA and the STEM community have been widely recognized and celebrated in recent years, particularly after the release of the book and film, Hidden Figures, in 2016. If she were alive today, her net worth would likely be significantly higher due to speaking engagements, book deals, and other opportunities. Vaughan spent much of her career in government service where salaries, especially for African American women, were modest. Her value and contributions are much better measured in terms of her pioneering work and the lasting impact she had on NASA and the fields of mathematics and computer science. Vaughan's legacy is defined by her groundbreaking work as a mathematician and her role as a leader and mentor to other women in STEM, rather than by personal wealth. Here are some of the places where Dorothy Vaughan lived. Morgantown, West Virginia. This is her childhood home. Vaughan was born and raised in Morgantown, where she grew up in a segregated African American community. Aberdeen Road, Hampton, Virginia. This is her home during her early years at NACA, NASA. Hampton, Virginia. Vaughan moved to Hampton in 1943 to work at the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, NACA, which later became NASA. Newport News, Virginia. Vaughan lived in Newport News with her family while working at NASA's Langley Research Center. This her home during her later years at NASA. Hampton, Virginia, again. Vaughan returned to Hampton after her retirement from NASA and lived there until her death in 2008. Dorothy Vaughan owned a few vehicles during her lifetime, including Chevrolet sedan, 1950. This was one of Vaughan's first cars, which she purchased in the early 1950s. Ford Galaxy, 1960. Vaughan owned this car during the 1960s, which was a popular model at the time. Plymouth Satellite, 1967. This car was owned by Vaughan during the late 1960s and early 1970s. Chevrolet Impala, 1975. Vaughan purchased this car in the mid-1970s, which was a full-size sedan with a comfortable ride. Please note that this information might not be exhaustive, as there might be other vehicles owned by Vaughan that are not publicly documented. Dorothy Vaughan was a pioneering African American mathematician who played a crucial role in NASA's space program. She faced significant discrimination and prejudice due to her race and gender, but she persevered, becoming a leader for other black women in STEM fields. Here's how she contributed to society. Human-computer. Vaughan was a human computer at NASA, meaning she performed complex mathematical calculations by hand, often for the space program. This work was essential for the success of early space missions. Vaughan and her team of human computers played a crucial role in calculating trajectories, analyzing data and developing code for space missions. Their work was essential to the success of the Mercury and Apollo programs. Breaking barriers. As one of the first African American women to work at NASA, Vaughan faced significant racial discrimination. Despite this, she excelled in her work, becoming the first black supervisor at Langley Research Center. Her leadership and talent paved the way for other black women to enter the field of computing and engineering. Vaughan led a group of black women, known as human computers, at NASA. She fought tirelessly to have them recognized and given opportunities for advancement, challenging the segregation and discrimination they faced. Leadership and advocacy. She is a source of inspiration for future generations. Vaughan's story is one of resilience, determination, and excellence in the face of adversity. Her achievements inspire countless young people, particularly girls and people of color, to pursue careers in STEM. Vaughan's work extended beyond her mathematical contributions. She became a leader and advocate for equal opportunities for black women in STEM. Her efforts helped to pave the way for future generations of diverse scientists and engineers. Vaughan established or supported scholarship programs for students pursuing education in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM. Mentorship programs. Vaughan mentored young women and minorities in STEM fields, providing guidance and support to help them succeed. Pioneering programming. Vaughan recognized the importance of computer programming in the changing landscape of space exploration. She and her team transitioned from using slide rules and calculators to using the IBM 7090 computer. This transition allowed for faster and more complex calculations, contributing to advancements in space travel. Dorothy Vaughan was involved in several charity endeavors throughout her life. Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. Vaughan was a member of this sorority, which focuses on education, health, and social justice. National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP. Vaughan supported the NAACP's efforts to promote civil rights and equality. American Cancer Society. Vaughan participated in fundraising events and donated to the American Cancer Society. Hampton University. Vaughan supported her alma mater, Hampton University, through donations and mentorship. Local churches and community organizations. Vaughan was involved with local churches and community organizations in Hampton and Newport News, Virginia, where she lived and worked. It is important to remember that Dorothy Vaughan was not a con artist. She was a highly skilled mathematician and a dedicated advocate for equality. Her story is one of resilience, courage, and a commitment to excellence. Dorothy Vaughan's legacy is not just about her scientific contributions, but also about her courage in fighting for equality and opportunity for black women in STEM. Her contributions to society have had a lasting impact on the field of space exploration and continue to inspire generations to come.